Is there any controversy?
Oh, it's great. It's really amazing. That was it was almost like a mantra. Every single warm up was like no fouls, no fouls, no fouls. So it's great. And coming in the first round, that's the cherry on the cake.
Does it, in any sense, does it feel like an act like your real first UFC win, because now the story after isn't like, after the first time it happens, it's one thing, but then it happens again and everyone's like, oh, is he a dirty fighter? And then to get a clean victory, does it almost feel like your first real UFC win?
Not at all. I'm 3-0 in the UFC. But I must say it is a massive relief, because I do think I didn't want there to be any question marks next to my performances. And unfortunately, the first two didn't pan out the way I thought it would. But this one went pretty smoothly.
So going off of that, is this how you expected this fight to play out? Did you expect a first round finish?
Definitely a first round finish, but I didn't expect it to be on the ground, to be honest. I really wanted a good stand-up fight. We were practicing spinning stuff backstage as well. But you know, Terrence Mitchell, hats off to him on short notice. He's a very game opponent, and his grappling is absolutely amazing. Why not utilize that? We knew the fight might hit the ground at some stage, and we'll be able to capitalize on that.
Well, moving forward, I know you were originally booked against Christian Rodriguez, who was coming off that big win over Raul. Are you hoping to maybe book that again, or are you trying to move past that? Like, because the broadcast seemed to think you wanted to fight Cody Garbrandt, who has a fight coming up. So what do you want your next move?
I just want to fight someone higher ranked. You know, I'm 3-0 in the UFC. I've fought 3 times in the last 8 months. I deserve someone higher ranked. And I want to start climbing the Bantamweight rankings as well. So fighting Christian Rodriguez makes no sense. You know, he's ranked probably number 50 somewhere. And he beat a guy that I was quite expected him to beat him. So I would like to fight someone better ranked. You know, Cody Garbrandt is fighting Mario Batista. Maybe we can, whatever happens in that fight, maybe we can push our bout to later in the year. I would like to fight at least once more this year.
Well, going off of that, if I'm sure you think Dricus is going to win later today, which means that they seem to want him to fight in Sydney in September, if that happens. Would that be a quick turnaround for you? Because you guys are always kind of booked on the same card.
I can confidently say September is not happening, but definitely later than September.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just down here. You spoke about the change of opponent. How difficult was that? Did you have to make any adjustments?
Most definitely. You know, Terrence Mitchell is a very crazy striker, and he's a very good ground grappler with very underestimated ground control. So we had to make some adjustments. We had some adversity in our camp as well coming into this fight, which I'm glad we stuck out and we pushed through, and I'm glad we got the job done.
Can you reveal what those kind of adversities were? Was it something personal or injuries?
Personal and injuries as well. We're gonna go back home and just sort some niggles out, some small stuff.
Cameron over here.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
You mentioned Cody Garbrandt. What interests you about that matchup? How do you think, if that was something that you do end up getting, how do you think you match up against him? So that everyone knows, it's just out of respect. I've massive respect for him. I've chatted a few times with him at the UFC PI as well. And he's a former champion. He's someone that I looked up to for years. So that fight is just plainly I want to test my skills against some of the best in the world, and he's up there in the rankings as well. So a win over him can really solidify my contention to get into those top spots. Yeah, and last one from me. Of course, the Bantamweight title fight is coming up with Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley. So just curious to know your take on that, how you think that goes down.
Sean gets it done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, just to build off that, Cameron, how do you think Sean gets it done against Sterling? Do you think it's a finish, or do you see him edging out a decision?
I do think he finishes him. I do think that Sean O'Malley has very dynamic striking and super underrated grappling, and I do think that he'll get it done.
Another finish for you here, and you got the undefeated record, and we often see guys like yourself that have that undefeated record get a bit of a push. You were on the prelims tonight. Do you want to get a main card spot here soon? I feel like you've kind of earned it at this point with 2 finishes in your last 3 fights.
Yeah, to fight later in the evening would be amazing because there were a bunch of South African fans in the crowd tonight, a bunch of guys that were really rooting for myself and our team, and I'm very grateful for that. So if we can do it with a fuller arena, that would be great.
What does it mean to be sort of part of this new wave of the bantamweight division? Like, we're hearing that Aljamain Sterling's going to be moving up. We're seeing, you mentioned Cody Garbrandt. I mean, he was a champion for a while. We're seeing a lot of newcomers come through. What does it mean to be a part of that group?
It's fun because it's super dynamic. I think we have one of the most talent-rich divisions in the UFC. So seeing that development, seeing the movement, all the moving parts actually moving with every single event is exciting. And it puts not pressure, but it keeps us focused on really improving every aspect of the game.
You mentioned not wanting to fight in September. Do you have a card in mind or when you would like to have that next fight? I'm sure you want to get one more in before the end of the year.
October, November, December.
November, New York?
Ooh, that sounds
There you go. Just put that in your head. Last one, got to ask. You know what I'm going to ask right now? Are you going to Topgolf after your fight? Are you going to stay a little bit longer? Did you even end up getting to go last time? I can't remember.
I couldn't go to Topgolf. I've been nagging Dricus for
said he'd go
every single day, but he doesn't want to go. But I did beat him in putt-putt at the Schmo's house, so that was quite fun.
Congrats on the win.
Thanks.
Cameron back here. Congratulations, Cameron. First off, can you put into words how big a night like tonight is for the team? Obviously, you and Dricus have fought together, but safe to say this is a much bigger night for the whole team.
100%. I know for a fact Dricus is going to get it done tonight. After that, he's going to be fighting for a world title, and that's amazing. We're going to go home with, again, perfect 2-0, and we had the Springboks play Australia back home. We beat them far. I got a first-round finish, and now it's just Dricus needs to seal the deal.
You guys are obviously very close friends. Obviously, the media, we love the whole, big brother, little brother thing that you guys have going on. But as you guys are rising up the ranks, no longer being on the same schedule, do you kind of see that as a little bit of out of Dricus' shadow a little bit and just start to do your own thing as you probably start to fight on cards where he is not around and this isn't as much of a narrative?
Most definitely, but I do think that even if he competes, I'll still be there. I won't be fighting, but I'll be there in his corner. Well, at least in the crowd, just cheering, and I do expect him to be there if I'm competing. So we knew the time was going to come that we won't be able to share cards. That's fine. We'll keep on flying the SA flag high on different cards.
I asked him after the fight in March, just like, hey, you and Cameron Saaiman starting to level up a little bit in the post-fight. We have the suit and tie now. I mean, is this on purpose? It's like, you know what, he's starting to wear suits. We're just trying to level up out there post-fight.
We are super competitive. No, I'm joking. I have a great tailor back home in South Africa, so shout out to the goat of Bespoke. But he's very cool, and I consider him a friend. So it's great to just enjoy the moment, enjoy it for what it is, and then I get to wear something nice at least once because I'm always in sweaty training clothes. Thank you.
Cameron, back here. You're a very young fighter, but you've had 7 finishes in your 9 pro fights. What has been the key for you to get finishes so frequently?
My team, and I preach this a lot. But my team. I'm just a skinny loser from Pretoria, South Africa, but I really stand on the shoulders of giants. And my head coach Morne Visser, my great assistant coach here, Henny Engelbrecht, and the whole team at Team CIT. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
And also, you mentioned how you wanted a stand-up fight, but tonight it was kind of your grappling that opened up the ground and pound. Is that something that you kind of look forward to in these exchanges? Even though you do like to stand on the feet, your grappling can still open up, still strikes with the hands.
It's great to have the confidence to know that the fight, wherever the fight goes, we'll be able to get the finish, and we showed that tonight. And I'm pretty sure my grappling coach back home is very happy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cameron, one more over here. It seems like the narrative around the bantamweight division is anyone in that top 5 to top 10 could essentially be challenging for the title, and it would make sense, like Sanhagen, Umar, Merab. So I'm curious, who do you believe is the best bantamweight in the UFC right now? Is it Aljamain? Is it Sean O'Malley? Is it Merab? Like, is there an unnamed champion that you see as a fighter?
I think technically it's very close. I do think it's such a dense division that it's very hard to call. But I do, just off the top of my head, I think Corey Sandhagen, Merab Dashvili, I think they are the two most solid guys in that division.